Warm greetings, and today we are going to see about the art of bonsai and alluring mind therapy. And the structure of the presentation is going to be first, we are going to read about the introductory concepts of bonsai, and then how to design a bonsai, the various styles actually present in the bonsai world, and how to make up the scientific aspects of bonsai regarding the pruning and the wiring and all the other techniques will be dealt in the last session. And this is the word, which is a Japanese word. It's nothing but a Japanese word means bonsai. Usually, the bonsai has to be pronounced as bonsai, but it is always misspelled as bonsai or bonsai. And this bonsai is literally nothing but, which is translated as planted in a container. So this bonsai is actually an art of miniaturization. That is a combination of arts and science which is together. That is the aesthetic sense of the person and the science and the techniques which is being adapted to create a wonderful bonsai. Actually, the bonsai is in China's origin, and later it was influenced and adapted by the Japanese. And hence, this bonsai actually has two parts, that is, bon, which means the container, and the sai means tree or a plant. So, here the picture depicts a banyan tree, and this banyan tree, if you could visualize that which is being minimized and placed in a shallow container, that will be dealt in the coming slides. So, to create a wonderful bonsai, one of the most important tools is to have a lot of patience because it takes a lot of years to complete a wonderful bonsai. There is no time limit for that to say that this bonsai has attained its particular form. So it is a continuous process. So it takes a lot of time and you need a lot of patience to create a beautiful bonsai. So coming to the history of the bonsai, it is an ancient art of utilizing this horticulture techniques to create the miniature replica of trees, which is found in nature. It is a Japanese art which has been inspired by the Chinese art of fencing. Fencing is nothing but pot landscape, and this art of bonsai represents harmony in your life and the balance of nature. Goal of bonsai is to achieve small size and greater similarity. And why it is cherished all over the world? Because it is considered to be a precious heirloom which has been handed down from one generation to the next generation. And this is the picture of a bonsai which is 1,000 years old. And the species present here is Ficus retusa bonsai, which is kept in Crespi, Italy. And this is believed to be around 1,000 years old. And it is also unique in the sense that this pot is also an antique piece, and its pot has been forged of one solid block of wood, which in turn is the world's largest bonsai found. And around the world of bonsai, what are the drivers and restraints, opportunities, and challenges faced are? The drivers are the global growth. There is an inclination, and the growth rate is increasing occurred globally. And adoption of growing bonsai for various hobbies around the world, and there is a huge demand for miniature bonsai. And some of the restraints which revolves around the bonsai is the presence of fungus and molds, which can be controlled, and high maintenance and long time to grow and maintain. And the other things are the unfavorable weather conditions, which makes the bonsai unsuccessful. The opportunity here is when you create a bonsai, you will have a growth in your personal income, and the government should step in and promote bonsai as a business opportunity. The real challenge in the bonsai world is there is a poor lack of skill and the less knowledge in the bonsai art. And it is also very expensive due to the import cost suppose the bonsai plant is being imported. So these are the drivers, restraints, opportunities, and challenges in the bonsai world. And the major players who are operating in the global bonsai markets are this mini garden bonsai, Heron's Bonsai, House of Bonsai, Bonsai Direct, Love My Bonsai. These are the few global bonsai marketing companies which are operating across the world. And coming to the art of bonsai making, so as a crisp details, we'll see about the characteristics which makes the bonsai having an illusion of a mature tree. So whenever you're going to select a bonsai, you select a species which is having small leaves or needles, and the internal distance between the leaves should be shorter, and the bark should be very attractive in nature. The branching characteristics or good twig forms makes the bonsai more appealing. Also, the weathered appearance in the upper roots and the aged appearance of the trunk and the branches are considered to be the aesthetic qualities which signifies the volatility and vulnerability of the life. Coming to the different styles of bonsai, so these are the different styles of bonsai which is being practiced by the Japanese. And first one is the formal upright, informal upright, a slanting bonsai. When you have two trunks, it is considered the twin trunk bonsai. When there are more number of trunks arising, it is called as multiple trunks. And next is the forest, raft style. The next is the broom style, semi-cascade and cascade. The difference between semi-cascade and the cascade is the branches, that is, the lower branches will reach the rim of the pot. Okay, so that is considered a semi-cascade, and in the cascade style, the lower branches will touch the ground portion of the pot. So that is the difference between semi-cascade and cascade. The other special types which are present are literati, windswept bonsai, root over rock, bonsai in rock, and shari bonsai. And whenever you select a bonsai, the approach should, your approach in considering a bonsai is you should start with the roots and then concentrate on the trunks and then over the branches. And the leaves, flowers, and fruits will look after themselves. What are the requirements? Suppose if you're going to make a bonsai, the requirements for a bonsai are a bonsai plant, which might be ready to purchase from some of the nursery, or you could produce your own seedlings, the seeds and seedlings from cuttings. And then bonsai pot. It should definitely be shallow, wide, plain. It might be circular or rectangular, and definitely there should be adequate drainage facilities to remove the excess water. And third one is the good media. And the aggregates are nothing but what are the special things which highlights the bonsai and water requirements and a balanced fertilizer, sphagnum mosses, and the tools. So these are some of the requirements for a good bonsai. And coming to the first property, so how we are going to make a bonsai. So the first one is here, growing from your seed. You can develop your own from sowing. You can get a good bonsai, and then you can also select some cuttings. And third one is you can buy a pre bonsai from some of the good nursery companies. And finally, the best bonsai will come out of this collecting the bonsai from natural circumstances. So these type of bonsais will get adapted very well because of the inadequate supply of nutrients present over there. So they would able to resist and come up very well as a bonsai. And as I said earlier, the plant selection should be you should have a smaller leaves or needles, shorter internodes, and an attractive bark or roots, and good branching characteristics, good twig form, and it should survive the container culture, and it should. The next one is the selection of the containers. So the bonsai requires a special type of containers because we are going to depict a natural plant into a container. So usually the pots will be shallow with around 5 to 7.5 centimeter in depth. Except for the cascade type of bonsai, you require deeper pots. Okay. And next, the round, hexagonal or square-shaped containers with 25 to 30 centimeter diameters are preferred, and the containers with specific colors like mosaic, sky blue, terracotta, gray or jungle green are well suited for bonsai culture. And these are the different bonsai pot styles available. As we discussed earlier, the cascade type alone will require a bigger pot. And third important aspect is the media. So usually the media will have loam soil for 2 parts and leaf mold 1 part and coarse sand little. The media can be covered with moss and 1 or 2 pebbles which can be placed over the media to give a natural look. So when selecting the media, you choose a coarse, a well-drained medium which provides basic needs like the water, oxygen, and nutrition. So equal portion of soil, leaf mold, and crushed bricks or sand is an ideal medium for a bonsai, and the top layer must have sufficient humus. Usually, the conifera plant requires more dry soil, and the fruit tree requires soil with more humus content. So when you go for preparing a media for the bonsai, take a big container, add loam soil, leaf mold, coarse sand, perlite or vermiculite, sand, sawdust or wood ash. It can be your own bonsai media. It depends upon particular person and the species. And these are some of the aggregates or additives which highlight your bonsai. You could use some rocks, and you can use sphagnum mosses, and you can create your own art in making or highlighting your bonsai. Water. Water requirement of bonsai is you can use rainwater or tap water, but it should be a clean water without any posing any risk to the plant. And it is advisable to water twice a day to plant kept in shallow container and once a day to plants kept in deeper pots. The fertilizer requirements options vary. It might be organic or it might be with this inorganic fertilizers, and better go for slow release within the pot. It slowly releases all the fertilizers. Even the liquid fertilizers are also available in market, and slow release pellets can be applied over the surface, and also slow release cakes are also available. And the organic matter or the sphagnum mass as part of soil mix, a little bit of sugar could be added. A pinch of bone meal and single superphosphate mixed is also very much beneficial to the bonsai. The tools required for bonsai are you will be requiring the trimming scissors for conducting pruning techniques over the bonsai plant, which is highly necessary. There will be definitely require a wire cutter for cutting the wires and the trimmers, and you can get this trunk splitters, root hooks, root cutter, and the spatulas and the brooms to dust off the material. Coming to the very important technique in bonsai is the pruning. So this is the scientific part which is concerned with the bonsai, which should be highly concentrated. As you all know that we are going to approach roots, then the trunk and the branches. At first, we'll look over the roots. You all know that conventionally the shoot is above the ground and root is below the ground. So, but the soil not line is not always an accurate way to distinguish between where the shoot and where the root starts. Since some plants roots will grow above the ground and some shoots descend into the ground. Here in bonsai, they have a root structure that is both below and above the ground. So we are going to see about nebari, which is an important technique in the bonsai, which is called as external visible roots, which gives a beautiful appearance to your bonsai. And then we are going to concentrate on the subsurface roots and the tap roots. So here you could visualize the nebari. So as we said, they are the visible external roots present in a bonsai. And this type of roots will come only with time. You cannot expect an immediate nebari at the earliest. It takes time to develop a very good nebari. And the nebari should look to grip the ground as they extend out from the trunk base at the same level. So cultivating a proper nebari is crucial to proper bonsai growth and appearance. So it's during the tree's growing time, nebari can be pruned during repotting. So look at the beautiful nebari present in this bonsai. There are how to make a nebari. There are different methods which are available to make a nebari by yourself. They are by simple cutting, air layering, and grafting. So these are the three different cuttings methods. There are three different methods which can be used for making a good bonsai nebari. So the first one is the grafting. So grafting can be done while it is attached to the tree itself, and air layering also is the best method to get better root development over the tree itself, and also cutting the removing the different root growths will make a best nebari. So these are the three steps to achieve a good nebari, that is grafting, cutting, and air layering. And you can also do this nebari by keeping a piece of bricks, and so that you can extend the roots all over the uh, piece of material over there, and you can achieve the nebari like the earlier one by using this technique. Coming to the trunk part, first we have seen about the root portion. Now coming to the trunk, you have to shape the trunk. So this shape trunking can be done with pre-drawing ideas. You can visualize that what your bonsai trunk should be after 15 or 20 years, and based upon that you can prune your tree. And the trunk shape should be tapering. It should be thick at the bottom and even tapering towards the middle and the top part of the trunk. Refinements of the form. Some basic tree forms with special characteristics. There are different styles we have seen earlier. So you choose the style according to what the plant requirement, and then you can prune the tree. Take time to plan the final form of your tree. Draw the final form, what you want to achieve. Think about what will be your future branch location, how will be the foliage distribution, and the leaf reduction. Do this while the tree is still young and the trunk is still pliable. After seeing this root and the trunk, we are going to see about the prune. So how to prune a plant? So first take your plant, set the plant on top of the inverter container, and have a good way to view the plant as you prune. First of all, remove the litter and some of the soil from the base of the ground. So this will help you to better view of your trunk and the top of the roots. The root system would be pruned further after the plant is adjusted to the initial pruning of the root and the shoot. First, start pruning by removing the dead growth, weak growth, and undesirable branches. That is the first step. Then, step away from the plant and look at it from a distance, and look at the plant from several directions. So, remove your bonsai from its pot and comb out its roots with a root hook. The first time you prune your bonsai roots, you will need to cut its taproot severely. Allow the younger roots to grow and cut off the older, thicker ones. Use always disinfected tools, and don't cut off more than two-thirds of the roots at a time. For most trees, pruning is actually done 2 to 4 times a year, which is highly recommended. So This is regarding how to prune your plant. So this is you visualize yourself that this is the bonsai plant in your pot, and so you could visualize the nebari, which is very well spread and it is very stable, and look at the age. And this nebari should have a tapering trunk line. Okay, then the pot should be very aesthetic and it should be visually proportionate to you. And in this style, you could see the first branch, which is being developed at one third of the tree height, whereas the second branch is just opposite, but not exactly opposite, a little higher than the first branch. And then the third opposite branch is opposite to the second branch, which is also little bit not exactly opposite, but little bit higher than the second branch. And you could also see the gap between the first branch and the third branch. And the fourth branch of the trunk is just opposite to the third dimension. And then you could see a foliage pad which is round in tropical. All the other branches will be distributed in the same pattern. So in the topmost portion, you could see an abundance of branches branching out in all the directions. And what are the things which should not be in a bonsai branching is there should not be no reverse tapering, and there should not be bar branches, and branches should not cross each other, and no extreme distortion of trunk which should look unnatural. Branches should not face the front view. So these are the things, do's and do nots in a bonsai trunk branching. And during pruning, what are the branches to be clipped or pruned is being explained in this slide. First, you could see number one, which is the bottom branched twigs, which should be immediately pruned. And second, you could see that same height and opposite sides. You could see the second and third are extremely opposite in nature. That should be so. You can remove the second branch. So allow this third as first branch, and then the third one is crossing the trunk. One of the twig is just rising from the third one and it is moving towards the center of the trunk, which should be removed. And the fourth one is it is very close to each other. That is your 4 and 5. The fourth one is extremely very close to the next one. And the sixth branch is growing straight up, which is not preferred. And the seventh one is growing straight down, which is also not preferred. Whereas your eighth is opposite of the growing trunk, which is not preferred in a bonsai style. In the ninth point, you could see lot of branches arising from one single direction. And 10th, crossing the other branches is also not allowed. And 11th one is much longer than the other branches. And sometimes to adjust the growth of the other branches, you can remove that or keep it. Then pointing front side is not at all allowed in the Japanese style, which is depicts rudeness. So the 12th is not also accepted. So these are the branches to be clipped or pruned if you are pruning your bonsai. And the other important technique is wiring. So it is very important to control the growth of maturing tree, and you can manipulate the tree according to your desired shape, might be a cascade or semi-cascade style. And you should start wiring once the roots are well established and the trunks start growing, and it gives an aesthetic, artistic manner. In this picture, you are weighing two wires. One is the copper wire and another one is the aluminum wire. So the copper wires of various dimensions 1 mm, 1.5, 2, 3 and 2.5 mm, which can be obtained from the stores, and the size depends upon the age of the tree. So the types of wire preferred over copper or aluminum is both the wires do well, but when you use copper, uh, it might damage the trunk, but both are giving good results. The aluminum wires are little more flexible than the copper wires. So wiring can be done at young and healthy plants. You will get best results when done during repotting. So for wiring can be done in the deciduous trees during early spring, whereas for coniferous, it is done during the autumn season. And when how to do wiring is hold the limb in both the hands, bend the wire to the branch and not the branch to the wire. That is the thing which you have to concentrate. And bend the wire from the trunk onwards, wrap around in 45-degree angle, and the wire should guide the direction. Never wire tight. So you can start from this pot. This method is also adapted. So take a pot and the anchoring can be started from the pot holes. So you can visualize this picture and you can start wiring like this so that you get a good grip. Repotting is highly essential for bonsai technique, and the repotting can be done with the correct soil type and species, and the drainage is good through soil. And the pot should have proper drainage holes and wire holes for securing the tree into the pot, and take time during the pot to sort the roots out. You can also wash the roots if necessary, but not for all the plants. In some plants, this mycorrhiza fungi is essential in case of pine trees, and protect after repotting from extreme of temperatures. Some of the plants suitable for bonsai are Cerisa, this Chinese yew, Nandina domestica, Chinese bird plum, Ficus ginseng, boxwood, Carmona, tamarind, bougainvillea, ixora, pomegranate, banyan, fig, carambola, the desert rose, Ficus species, and this Bremna microphylla and Bremna ceratifolia. The coconut bonsai is highly popular in Indonesia. Here, wiring is not applied and the pruning is restricted to leaves since no branches. Repot early one. This is the Sabamukhi bonsai, which is a special technique in bonsai, which is a deadwood bonsai technique. Here, a split is being made in the trunk, which gives an appearance that it is being struck by lightning. And this is actually created by removing the bark or cambium of the particular tree using a carving knife and make the plant as if an exposed wood to create a deep wound-like appearance. And this is the Tanuki bonsai. So it is a living tree joined to an interesting piece of dead woods to create a that is the driftwood style is being used here. In Japanese word, jin means dead branch and shadi meaning dead wood on the trunk. This is the Tanuki bonsai. And the things we should remember in bonsai is these bonsai trees are not genetically dwarfed plants and they have a better, longer life than the uh, mostly they enjoy longer lives than they would be in the wild because of the care we provide them. And the don'ts and the do's of bonsai is always choose plants with fine leaves, flowers, and fruits. Do not choose a style unsuitable for the species, and no blunt cutting implements. Avoid unnatural objects for decoration. Do not be in a hurry to get the flowers or fruits. Do not mix chemicals and fertilizer in the same solution. Do not keep bonsai on the ground. Do not tie wire very tightly. Do not retain wires for a longer duration. Avoid hard pruning. Do not give heavy fertilizers. Avoid freakish appearance of bonsai. The do's in bonsais are choose the plants hardly suitable for local climatic conditions and choose a simple containers with proper drainage facilities. Position the plant correctly in the container and do potting and repotting at the right time. Eliminate air pockets while you are doing potting and repotting. Trim or prune regularly to produce a fine network of shoots. And keep your bonsai in a very open and airy place as it is not an indoor plant. Give balanced nutrition and use mild fertilizers or slow release fertilizers. Provide plenty of sunshine to all the sides of bonsai. Do thorough watering until the water comes out of the drainage hole. Check regularly drainage as waterlogging is very harmful to the bonsai roots. Inspect often for the insects and pest and disease occurrence in your bonsai. Develop the design suitable for the species and design must be well balanced and natural looking. And the foremost important is give your love and affection by proper and constant care to bonsai. For any doubts regarding this, reach us in my mail ID kanimuzi at srmist.edu.in. And thank you for listening to the session. As horticulturists, let's join hand and face the climate change happening around us and let we plant more and have a sustainable garden. Let us stamp the impression of green. Thank you all.